Because I spent so many hours researching Grand Theft Auto 6 with all my videos over the years, I want to now do the latest breakdown of everything we know about the massive overhaul coming to the police and prison system, because I don't see a lot of YouTubers talking about the prison if they are talking about the police, in Grand Theft Auto 6 of course. We are moving beyond the instant, almost one-dimensional cops of the past to something far more realistic, drawing from the investigative systems in Red Dead Redemption 2. We will get to the insane prison mechanics later in the video, but first let's start with the evolution of the wanted level system. And the biggest change revolves around how you become wanted in the first place. It is no longer about committing a crime and immediately having a star appear. It's about witnesses and identification. Remember those two, witnesses and identification, because in GTA 6 a crime will often be first reported by a civilian or an NPC. You see this in the trailers where people on their in-game phones are doing anything from browsing social media to taking pictures and videos, and this actually has an impact within the cop system as well, because they can actually call the cops and record you and then send that over to either social media, and then the cops come at you, or maybe the cops have their own app where people can send their crazy videos of you shooting everybody up so that the cops can come. And this means that the police response won't be immediate either. There's a small little window that is actually confirmed in the 2022 footage where Jason and Lucia are actually robbing a Waffle House out of all places. Like, why would you rob a Waffle House? They're tying people up, asking everybody for money, kind of like the Red Dead Redemption train robberies, and instead of you getting a star or a wanted level, it first shows a text that says time until cops dispatched, and this is an actual timer that counts down, giving you a chance to flee the scene before you even arrive. But what happens if you don't flee and the cops do arrive? Well, when the police does show up, their search is based on two things when they receive a description. The key details are both your clothing and your vehicle. This is huge because it introduces a new evasion mechanic. If you can quickly ditch your getaway vehicle or change your outfit, you can actually lose the police's attention. And this is a massive step up from the older games where a fresh coat of paint is all you need to get away from the cops, and they will even forget you exist, which is a big convenience. This also gives you two options where you can either plan out your heist or robbery, what you're doing. You're getting a getaway car that you can ditch, and you kind of find a getaway car for your getaway car. And same with clothing, you put different clothes on before you start the robbery, knowing that you're gonna change them later on. Now, there's also speculation that CCTV cameras in places like Vice City will contribute to identify subjects, making city escapes a lot tougher. And you see this in trailer 1 where there is a CCTV footage of an alligator walking into a store. Crazy, but maybe that can also be used to identify you and actually just see the whole robbery. And maybe it will be even posted on the social media aspect of the game where you can see yourself getting a big paycheck as the police is also, watching that same footage. But when you don't run away, when you are fighting back against the police, the AI itself of the cops is getting a major upgrade to be much more tactical. They aren't just going to drive straight at you anymore. No, we expect them to actually employ realistic tactics like setting up proper effective roadblocks and perimeters that genuinely cut off escape routes, not just cars that spawn around the corner. No, we've seen hints of them using even K9 units, so police dogs, and deploying tear gas. And if that's not enough, they even utilize riot shields for cover sometimes if you really bring the big boys out. And then we have, of course, the prison system, and that is a big part of the narrative. I mean, Lucia starts in prison in the game with the very first scene of the first trailer showing her in the prison in a jumpsuit and then speaking to a counselor, confirming that her story begins with her in the Leonida Penitentiary. Of course, this therefore confirms that the prison is a massive part of her backstory and the overall narrative. But you already know what that means. That means that there is even more exciting news, which is the possibility of an actual prison life gaming mechanic. Community speculation backed by the narrative focus is that getting busted by the cops might no longer be a simple cutscene where you pay a fine. No. Instead, you might have to serve time time in a correctional facility with a duration depending on the severity of your crimes. And if you don't want to do that, then you can just pay an amount and you can get out. But this time in prison, you can use it as a contained tutorial to introduce new mechanics at the beginning of the game, like revamped fighting systems and also prison-specific missions or interactions with inmates like we've seen in Red Dead Redemption 2. This would be a great way to introduce that in Grand Theft Auto 6 for people who are not familiar with the Red Dead 2 game. Now, of course, in my last video I talked a little bit about Grand Theft Auto 6 NPCs and how you can talk to them, and I want to make a deep dive video about that, but that is also a big part of the law enforcement, because if you do like small time crimes, you might be able to just talk to a cop and get out of the situation by doing just that. You don't even have to flee, you just talk to them and kind of manually manipulate them emotionally to get out of your potential wanted level. So that's a little bit of a speculative thing that I wanted to throw in there because I think it's really fun if you can actually do that. Kind of like Red Dead Redemption 2 diffuse option, where you just can talk to somebody, and if things get aggressive you can diffuse the situation so that you can walk away safely and no one gets hurt. Now, one thing that is speculation, but I really want this in Grand Theft Auto 6, I want kind of the level system of San Andreas back, especially the later kind of stages where you have tanks trying to get at you. Look, GTA 6 is going to be a realistic game, we know this, but there's fun realism and actual realism, and we want a lot of fun realism too, such as the army going against you instead of just the FBI like in GTA 5. We want tanks coming after us, maybe even fighter jets if we are going in the sky with the highest wanted level, and then we can have an actual dogfight with them. That would be super cool. And also a throwaway thing that I want to mention is if you have a getaway vehicle and you're going to have a police encounter, make sure that you don't have crazy guns in the back of your car, because maybe there's going to be a scenario where you're trying to rob a store and the police comes after you and you forget all those guns in your getaway car and you ditch the car, and then you're like, oh my god, where's my RPG? I need this thing. So make sure you actually play it safe, if that is the case, of course, because this is all speculation, but I think it's fun to kind of speculate about all these things. And the last thing I want to mention is that in Red Dead Redemption 2 you have things called a lockdown zone or a search zone. So if you commit too many crimes, the town in Red Dead Redemption 2 will actually lock down and you cannot enter any stores or anything. Now, if you go and do the craziest bank heist or commit the craziest crimes, going with a tank or a fighter jet and just causing mayhem, it might be the case that there will be an actually city-wide lockdown. So imagine the Vice City Police Department effectively sealing off downtown Vice City with strategic, effective roadblocks, and all the stores and all the clubs and everything else will lock down and not be open for like a couple of in-game days, or maybe just one in-game day, whatever is the most fun. And that will actually show that you have impact on the actual world. If you get into that lockdown zone, you better be really stealthy, because if somebody sees you, you have the biggest wanted level ever on your face, and then you can cause even more mayhem. So maybe that's exactly what you want to do, but it might stop you from progressing into the story. Maybe you do care about that, maybe you don't, and you just cause some more mayhem, but that would be super fun for me at least. And I want to know what you guys think about that option, and if there's going to be a lockdown in the game. So what do you think is the most fun? The overall police system, the prison system, or the lockdown idea that I have right here? Let me know in the comments. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for Rolfcore to be a member, and if you want to support me and be a part of the end card of the video, consider becoming a member. Thank you guys for watching. Bye bye.